Harry's wife. The Queen knew something was wrong. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. When along comes a narcissist in a romantic situation, the narcissist targets that individual, either consciously or subconsciously, with a view to, of course, controlling them, drawing fuel from them, and gathering possibly character traits and residual benefits. The individual may be known to the narcissist already. They might be a friend or a colleague, or a neighbour, or just someone they happen to know, and thus starts from a position of secondary source. In other instances, they're a complete stranger and they're a tertiary source. Although she claimed not to know anything about him, it was clear that Harry's wife knew full well who Prince Harry was, and therefore, with that knowledge about him, that she, or rather her narcissism, utilised that for the purposes of bringing him under control. And as you know from my work, that the narcissist invariably, though not all, but many, love bomb that victim, turning on the charm, the supposed compassion and empathy for that person, perhaps giving them lots of spicy poontang, mirroring interests, mirroring dislikes, laughing at all their jokes, causing that individual to think, my goodness me, I've met the absolute person of my dreams. I've met my soulmate. I've met the person that likes everything that I like, dislikes these things, makes me feel like a king, even though I'm way down the pecking order still. For somebody like Prince Harry, with his vulnerabilities and the addiction as the core of what he is to narcissists, he was, in a sense, easy meat for Harry's wife. And then, with the response that comes from that, is that invariably the victim, not knowing who this individual truly is, believing that everything they say to them and everything they do is genuine and that they really do care for them, love them and think that they're amazing, reciprocate and fall heavily in love. As I've explained elsewhere, in effect what the narcissist does is mirror yourself back at you, because you are seeking your other half. You're seeking somebody of similar physical levels of attraction, somebody who has a similar moral outlook on the world. You're seeking of someone of similar levels of intelligence, interests, and so on and so forth. And therefore, we as narcissists mirror yourself back at you. So, rather paradoxically, you end up falling in love with yourself. Which, of course, sounds rather narcissistic, but it's not, because what you're doing is you're looking for those similar representations of yourself, because that will give you the most fulfilling type of relationship. And thus, we mirror that back at you so that you feel that you have that fulfilling relationship, which causes you to be even easier to control, causes you to fall heavily in love with the narcissist. And that's why, of course, when it all goes to shit, as it always does with the intimate partner primary source, as you're devalued, it becomes so confusing for you, and rather than you walk away, you remain invested, because you invariably do love the narcissist. Over time, that will change. But even in the first throes of devaluation, you still love the narcissist and you want to make the relationship succeed. You want to get it back to where it was when you were being given the golden period. Harry, of course, can't see all of this that was going on. Blinded by his own emotional thinking and the manipulations of Harry's wife, he, like so many other intimate partner primary source victims, fell for it. Other people, however, often see it. Members of the family, friends. They see that it's moving too quickly. Witness the comments of Prince William. They see that this person talks about this new arrival and nothing else. They appear infatuated with them. They spend lots of time with them, perhaps not spending time with family and friends like they once did. Years-old arrangements suddenly become cancelled because they want to spend so much time with the new boyfriend or girlfriend. There might be instances of lending or giving money to this person, spending excessively with regard to gifts to impress them. It might be turning down invitations which they'd always gone to, no longer helping out, as all of their energies, attention and resources are focused upon this new arrival. The victim, of course, doesn't see anything wrong in this. They're in love. They're happy. Why can't you just be happy for me? But those friends and family who are not prone to the addiction and have a little bit of distance between them and, of course, the new arrival, who is the narcissist, are able to see, not necessarily that in walks a narcissist, though there are some who are versed in it who do spot it, but more usually something isn't right. that there are some red flags flying. The victim can't see them, but other people do. And this was the case with the Queen. In an article in The Telegraph, it headlines, "Late Queen thought Prince Harry a little too in love with Harry's wife." Giles Brandreth claims Elizabeth II liked the future Duchess of Sussex and even suggested she continue her career as an actress. The late Queen was worried that Prince Harry was perhaps a little too in love with his wife, Harry's wife, during the early days of their marriage, it has emerged. Although Her Majesty did everything she could to make the Duchess of Sussex feel welcome, she appears to have expressed some concern about the impact on her grandson of some of the tensions within the royal household following her arrival, a new biography has revealed. Giles Brandreth, the broadcaster and a close confidant of the senior royals, has disclosed how the Queen was genuinely delighted with Prince Harry's choice of wife. So much for the racism allegations and the fact that they didn't help her, and had high hopes for the contribution the American actress could make to public life. But as a number of staff left the Sussex's service and claims of bullying emerged, denied by the Duchess's legal team, the Queen expressed her worries about the effect on her grandson. So again, the Queen sees it. She sees the fact of the infatuation being too much in love too quickly of Prince Harry. She sees the behaviours of Harry's wife and does not approve of them. And of course, we all saw during the wedding itself the look on the Queen's face as she watched. She knew something was amiss, but was not moved to do anything about it. Perhaps she was unable to do so. How many times have you, knowing that somebody's dealing with a narcissist, thought about intervention and trying to persuade them against it, and those that you've tried and then invariably have failed? Mr. Brandreth writes in an extract from his new book, Elizabeth, An Intimate Portrait, published in the Mail on Sunday, "The only concern the Queen let slip in the early days of the Sussex's marriage was to wonder to her friend if Harry wasn't perhaps a little over in love. This was far as she came, to my knowledge at least, to ever uttering a word against the new Duchess of Sussex." Indeed, the Queen identifying a red flag there. The broadcaster says in his book that the Queen liked Harry's wife and did everything to make her feel welcome, even telling the Duchess, who had starred in the US legal drama Suits, that she could continue her career, saying, "You can carry on being an actress if you like. That's your profession, after all." So much for the suggestion that she wasn't allowed to do things. When the Duchess said she would quit acting to dedicate herself to royal service, the Queen was delighted, reports Mr. Brandreth, only to become concerned when her offer to have Sophie Wessex show her the ropes was allegedly rejected. Assertion of control by Harry's wife, deeming the suggestion to show her the ropes as a threat to control because, after all, Harry's wife is the expert in everything. However, the Queen appears to have been generally relaxed about some of the issues bedeviling the Duke and Duchess's relationship with the wider institution of the monarchy. At one stage, according to Mr. Brandreth, she reminded Prince Andrew, after her son harumphed about Harry's wife in Harry's tell-all interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2021, that his former wife, Sarah Ferguson, had previously given an interview to the same US talk show host. And while the Duke of Edinburgh felt that the Sussex's interview was madness, the Queen is reported in the book to have been more relaxed, dismissing it and the couple's forthcoming Netflix documentary as "this television nonsense." Mr. Brandreth also says that while other members of the royal family found the Sussex's decision to name their daughter Lilibet, the Queen's childhood nickname, bewildering and rather presumptuous, the Queen remarked it was very pretty and seems just right. The book reveals that when the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are mentioned to other members of the royal family, the response is a brief smile and a curt, "We wish them all the best." Mr. Brandreth's close relationship with senior members of the royal family dates back to the 1970s, when he met Prince Philip at a charity event, with the pair quickly hitting it off. So, interesting to see there that the Queen did identify that there was an issue, albeit she didn't pick up on other things later on. Other people, of course, did, Prince William notably doing so. And this is demonstrative of how people see the red flags, not necessarily knowing what it is, but the chief victim does not. What about people in the comments section? Did they see similar? What are their observations about this article? PM Bosworth: "The late Queen, being a strong Christian, was never going to be unkind to Harry's wife. Sadly, that kindness was not reciprocated. The Queen wouldn't publish the findings of an investigation into Harry's wife's bullying, which was obvious that she was a bully. One day, one of her victims will tell all. Nasty woman, married to a lapdog fool." Michael Holdsworth: "The late Queen was characteristically gracious and generous. Personally, I hope they and their family are very happy together. Harry and Harry's wife certainly deserve each other. What I find utterly appallingly and deeply distasteful is their concerted, determined and willful destruction of the monarchy and their family for money. You really can't stoop lower than that. Terry McCabe, a little too in love, or as Trump said, Prince Harry is the most whipped man in the world. Again, Trump identifying a red flag there. Somebody else who saw it. Piggy Malone, clever. Brandreth, on behalf of the people who cannot say anything, seems to be drawing the sting from Harry's book before it is published. It's amusing that the real Queen seems to have had the measure of Harry's wife's unfortunate influence on her grandson quite early on. Vanessa Coote, a little too in love, probably means totally under her thumb. Alan Michaels, the Queen is ever full of quiet grace, empathy, dignity and compassion. She continually felt for the people whose lives were turned upside down simply by virtue of an accident of birth. Her father, Margaret, Charles, Andrew, Harry. Their proximity to her meant they could never be normal, just as she could never be normal. But she wore the crown and so had the top job to do as sovereign. Her number one job was just to be the Queen. All this led to problems which she well understood. She was also a simple Christian soul, forever humbled by her understanding of her role as a servant of the one true Lord and the King of Kings. If we had more like her in society, we might be less shouty, more tolerant and generally happier. None of us, in Harry's wife or Harry's wife's shoes or heads, they've made their own choices, whilst I may not personally approve of them, who in truth are we to judge? If the Queen didn't judge, then I shall try to learn from that. Eileen Bates. It's understanding the crux of this matter, to be honest. He is so absolutely besotted by her that it's pitiful to see. This has led, among other things, to him sitting by her side and allowing her to spill her downright lies about his family without him even blinking. This is nauseating to watch. He's now so under her thumb, it's difficult to see how she can have any respect for him. Which is, of course, demonstrative of the hold that a narcissist has over an individual. And it's demonstrative of course, the way that his addiction causes him to not see the problems. Many people think that he willingly embraces them. He does to an extent, but he doesn't see them for what they are because it's all within a particular context framed by the way she talks about things and her narcissism. But it's demonstrative, and the comments show that people do accept that Harry's wife is a problem, and the Queen saw some of those problems at an early juncture. But even though she did, it wouldn't have done any good because Harry would simply not listen to her, because no ensnared victim of the narcissist ever does listen to those other voices until it's far too late. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.